Now we try to do further mesh operations. Bad meshes may be formed by using the snap hex mesh. If you read the warnings or the snap hex mesh from previous one, I just make a screenshot here. It said there are some two illegal phases that not satisfying the geometric constraint. That may influence the further operations, maybe not further operations, but only the solving process, for example. But at this stage, I'll keep this as it was before, and I will see how it works by doing the further mesh operation, right? So the further meshing operation, including by removing the by splitting the regions. If you remember, we have a background region. We have two zones, which is being named as air and water in our snap hex mesh dictionary. And that only two regions are our interest region or our domain for the CFD calculation. Now I need to split the region first. So I go here by using split mesh regions and based on the cell zones, and I'll overwrite the previous mesh. So it will do the work for me, and I'll wait to it finish. Right, so if we look at the information from the OpenFOAM, it actually gives me 4 regions. So the region 0 and region 1 and region 3 and 4. So reading the regions, it has some information here called region 1 is actually air, region 2 is water, and it means the other, so it's 5 regions actually, so from 0 to 4. So the other 3 regions are the background region, because our region has different sections, so it will cut the previous background mesh into different domains as well. So we keep this, and we should remember only the air and the water is our region. So if I go back to my folder, I will see there are 5 regions has been formed. So the air, water is our computation domain. The other 0, 3, and 4 is not used, will not be used for the background. So what I will do, I will only use the air and water. How to do that? We will use the subset mesh. So it is command that will extract only the zones that we are interested and do some like further operations about the boundaries and the interfaces. So I'll do this following the split mesh regions here, and use subset mesh and zone. So the zone option allowing us to give the zones we are interested or we are subtracting. So I use air and the water. So that's 2 regions I'm interested. So this is just a general dictionary definition for it. And I will also use this overset mesh to overwrite all the previous meshes, right? So I'll do this, and it will give me some information because I also do this by overriding. So the old meshes will be overwritten, and then the rest domains, if you look into the folder, it's still here. For example, in the 0 region, constant region, and the system folder. So all the regions still there. So what I'm going to do is just delete these regions. So that's not what I used. You can use the command, or you can just directly delete by using the windows. So I will use the windows operation to delete the regions I'm not interested, right? So that is mesh operation of 3 steps: splitting the zones, extracting the subset of the mesh by the zones, and also delete the unused region for our process. So now if I open the Parallel again and load the foam file, I would say now, because I extract subset mesh and also delete the other regions, I clearly say there are only 2 regions left. So only the air domain and water domain. So in different colors, red is for air and the green is for water. And I can see the meshes as well. So not too bad actually for the meshes. And what I will to do further is to identify the interfaces, because if you remember, we delete the background mesh, but remember the current air and water has the interface with the background mesh, and of course there's also the interfaces between air and water. So if we see here, we will see there are different patches formed. So if I only see the air region, of course I need to close the, I only see the air. So it shows the air region only, and there are 4 different patches. So it's very obvious to see the patches between the air and water has been formed. There are 3 others. So air to domain 0, domain 3 and 4. Remember, these are the background mesh we have deleted, but the interfaces with them still exist. So these should be the external regions, except the interfaces between the water and air. So that is the region, all the external walls, or some regions that may be different. So if I click this to 0, there's no difference, right? So which means the air to domain 0 is the external walls, right? But what is the air to domain 3 and 4? I turn this 2 on. So it's very minor, it's nearly invisible, but if you really want to see them, you will see these are the regions which is not so obvious thing, and that is because the bad mesh that we formed, actually it should belong to the water and air interface, right? So they are only part of the water air interface, because if I turn them off, I will definitely see there are some, see here, the region here is empty. So they should be interconnected to form a phase, but now the phase has been lost in the patches which formed the air to water. So I will say the air to domain 0 is the external walls, air to water is the interface between air and water, 3 and 4, they are all the air and water interfaces, but they are missed. They are missed in this domain or these patches. It would be fair to say I can add all this to the water, air to water interfaces, but what I will to do differently is I will to group the missed air to water interfaces that have been missed. I will use the new patches to group them, but I will not add them as the interface between air and water. Instead, I will use a solid wall to define that. It's not so physically defined, but I will tell you the reason later why I did this. All right, and also I will do the patch check for the water region as well. So the water region, similarly, I will turn on the water region only. So this is water interface. So this is the water. This is the water region, not the interface. And I have the water to air, right? But if you look carefully here, there are also mixed phases of the interface. That's also based in the water to domain 3 and 4. So if I add these two and display them together, so the red region is very obvious, and there's also a purple region here that is also the patches for the water to the domain. So these are the bad meshes actually formed when we delete the background mesh. The interface of course existed, but because the mesh here is very bad, it can't be interconnected with the water air interface. Again, there are another domain called water to domain 0. So this is the interfaces. So this is the external faces, right? So except for the beyond the air water interface. So this only the walls, and of course the inlet and outlet. Of course, in the previous domain with the air to domain 0, we also should have the inlet and outlet, but it hasn't been evidently defined yet. So that we'll be able to do later. So we identify all the patches, especially the interfaces of the water and the air region. And next, we will do some topological operation by grouping them and defining them as different geometric boundaries.